Hey guys, welcome to my tutorial on how I draw my digital art. As you guys might know, I mostly draw traditional art, so just keep that in mind because I'm definitely not the best at digital art, but I want to try and explain my process to you guys anyway, for those that are curious. So I'll just jump straight into it. I don't really have like a line art step. I just go straight in with like a skin tone or anything really just to block out the shape of the head, just so I've got like something to work with. I find it much harder to start out with like a line art as opposed to like just blocking in color and just creating like big shapes, if that makes sense. So that's what I do first, and then I start working off of that. And as you saw for this one, I started with the mouth and then I worked my way up the face. It sort of depends. Sometimes I start with the eyes and then move down, but it doesn't have to be the same every time. I sort of just switch it up to whatever I'm feeling. So once I am slightly happy with what I've put down so far, I'll just start to block in some of the other colors. As you can see, I do it quite messily, like in the hair there, just to sort of get a feel of what things are going to look like. I am a lot slower with my digital art, so I just sort of like to slap down like all of the colors and everything that I can as quickly as possible, because I really can't stand sort of dragging out the process. That's why I kind of prefer traditional art, to be honest, because it's a lot faster. But anyway, so now I'm just sort of going over all of my features with like a really thin like pencil brush, just to get in all of those fine details. And I'm starting to build up shadows in the face with my round brush. So I'm still trying to figure out my style when I draw digitally. I don't think it's there yet. Because I like quite a sketchy style in my traditional art, when I swap to digital, I find that I like overwork the piece and make things too blended, which is not the style I'm really going for. So you will see like a little bit of experimenting here. But I'm just going in now and adding some shadows and deeper tones into the hair, and just trying to figure out what's going on with the face shading, because I personally don't like it to look too blended, but then I don't like it to look too rough and sketchy and sort of harsh, I guess. So I'm just trying to find the balance there. And as you saw at the very start of the video, I did list some of the brushes that I used. So to lay down most of the shading and the colors, I do use the round brush with like quite a large size setting, just so I can sort of get things down onto the canvas. And then I go in later with the pencil brushes like the 6B and the peppermint to sort of blend the shading together and add some of those fine details like the glasses and on the eyes as well. And also, it's very handy when drawing digitally, in my opinion, to be able to flip your canvas so easily and sort of fix your proportions. So throughout this sketch, I just sort of kept going back and forwards and flipping my canvas and just sort of fixing up my proportions. So now I'm going in and adding some of those lighter tones into the hair, and also some of the details on his clothing. I think I was just using the round brush for that as well. And I was pretty happy at this point with like the proportions and how things were coming together. So the rest of the painting is sort of just tweaking the tiny little details. A tip I have for you guys, which I touched on before, and I need to tell myself this more also, is not to overwork your digital artworks. Just because sometimes I'll really like how something is going, and then I just sort of get tunnel vision and get really absorbed into it. And I just like keep blending and keep sort of trying to fix things that don't really need fixing, and then I end up not liking it in the end and end up liking it sort of how it was before, if that makes sense. So as I learn, because I'm still learning digital art, I will get better at figuring out when to stop, I think. And I think that's an important thing to learn. So you might have seen just a second ago, I was sort of experimenting with like putting little cookie clips in his hair, but I ended up not doing that. I also want to talk about brushes really quick. So my biggest struggle with digital art is finding brushes that work for me and the style that I want to achieve. And honestly, I still haven't found brushes that I really love. I actually really prefer as a program using Paint Tool Sai. I think Paint Tool Sai has great brushes, but you can't use that on the iPad, unfortunately. But I did tweak some of the brushes, like the round brush and the HB brush, and here you can see me sort of experimenting with that. And I just went into the settings and I played with like the wet mix option, because I like that sort of blended effect that the brushes give sometimes, so I think that helped with that. So that's sort of what I did to customize my brushes a little bit. And once I practice digital art a little bit more, and if I find some brushes that I think are really great, I'll definitely let you guys know. But for now, this is all I could sort of work with, was these couple of brushes. But I think if you take your time, even with brushes that aren't completely ideal, you can get the desired effect that you want. It just takes a little bit longer. So now things are looking pretty blended. I also went in with the I'm not sure if it was the 6B, or the peppermint sketching brush, but I just went in with those to create like the little flicks of the hairs that sort of stick out, and also on the space buns, like the little flyaway hairs around there. I just used those brushes for that, and the piece is nearly complete now. It's just the little details, like adding some shine into the eyes and changing the background a little bit. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with how this one turned out. I'm just adding those little hearts there with my round brush, and that is pretty much it. I really hope this video was helpful. I'm sorry if it was a little bit rambly. I'm still learning digital art myself, so I guess it's a little bit hard to sort of explain what I'm trying to do. But I hope you like how this turned out. I hope you like the video. And as always, you can leave suggestions for anything you'd like me to do down below, or anyone you'd like me to draw. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next video.